Hi folks, it's John Nizman from lastchanceautorestore.com. Just a quick little update. One of the many vehicles that we're building here at our resort, if you will. This is the 81 Toyota Land Cruiser. And we've done a considerable amount of body fitting and dry fitting and modifications to it. So the last video I shared with you, we were having great difficulty trying to line up some of the original Toyota steel parts with the aftermarket aluminum body builder. So we've changed quite a few things and modified quite a bit, and now it's really starting to shape up and it's really coming into the vision that our client has for this vehicle. So starting at the very front, we have this substantial bumper. Now this is made for a totally different vehicle. It's a really nice brand. It's XRC. Is the name of the company that built this bumper. Now it's made for a totally different sport utility, so we had to modify this bumper. We had to make and fabricate brackets, do quite a bit of measuring to make it all fit, but it's really going to be a nice look and a nice fit for this Land Cruiser. So we have that all set in and bolted to the frame. We're just dry fitting a few of the lights. Our client's going to be getting some different lights hooked up. We have this really nice heavy-duty winch on the front. So this one is made by Smittybilt. So we had to modify and change the brackets for it to make it fit for this application. So just to point out, whenever you're doing a custom build like this, there's a lot of clients that will go on to a website or through a catalog and they'll click and order some parts, and sometimes they'll believe the actual manufacturer and where they suggest it's a direct fit or a complete bolt-on system made for a certain vehicle. Our client who has this vehicle knew exactly what style he was looking for, and he knew that this bumper wasn't made for this vehicle, but based on our ability, he picked this and said, please make it work on this unit. So it's really basically our client's vision, and then we make it happen in terms of taking measurements, modifying what we have. So as opposed to building this from scratch, we're able to modify it and make up brackets and so on that's required to make it work properly. So we've got the front end is coming along quite nicely. We have all of the lighting dry fitted in. We've marked and drilled the holes in these aluminum fenders for the correct lighting. We had quite a challenge. I'm just going to kind of move this way. We had a great bit of challenge to try and get the cowl wasn't fitting right, and the windshield line wasn't fitting correctly, and the roof line, I wouldn't say it was out by a mile, but it was substantially out. So in the last video we were just mentioning we're starting to get panels to fit together, and the concept is coming together quite nicely. Well, now you can see after a lot of dry fitting and modifications, it's really coming along quite well. So this hood is an original steel hood from Toyota, but it wasn't anywhere close to fitting the aftermarket aluminum body and extensions. So we did quite a bit of work to it. From underneath we had to cut the bracing, and we basically changed the whole shape and setup of the hood. You can see we just have it dry fitted on. I should have another person help me. So underneath, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but there is a bracket that comes across and it goes over to the passenger side, and you can see where we've actually cut and removed a section of it, and we had to modify the bottom side and then re-weld and grind the brackets and so on back in place. So it's something you're not going to see later on when we do the body modifications. You can also see there's that circle there, and that was some body damage that we worked, and we actually had to shrink the metal to get it to fit properly, because this had some damage to the hood, and someone just painted it flat black for our client, and it hid a lot of the imperfections and flaws that were present on the hood. So now that the hood is fitting very close to where it should, you come down the passenger side, you'll see the front cowl area we now have redone and this front extension from here to the front grille that the fender bolts to, you can see now this is lined up. Originally, we had a gap that was almost 3/4 of an inch, and it wasn't anywhere near being level with the cowl, and the grille wasn't anywhere close to fitting either. So now this is fitting quite nicely, and then you can see the doors and the windshield. With a whole bunch of modifications, we were able to get the windshield to sit to match up with these original steel Toyota doors. And then we'll be changing these hinges with probably some chrome plated hinges. But we have the brackets all welded in place. We have drilled and marked all the holes for the fender. The fenders were originally located in a different location, so we fixed that. And then we've got the running boards dry fitted on. You can see there's some remnants of some markings here where we had to mark and drill and set up everything for the rear fenders, because the back of this cowl was quite warped and we had to do quite a bit of work on it. And then we had some TIG welding to do, aluminum TIG welding, where we had to remove some of the incorrect areas and redo that. There's a lot of subtle little things that we'll be doing in terms of upgrades, and one is hidden behind this fuel door. So if the camera can pick it up, we've got our normal fuel filler here. This is a diesel, by the way, diesel, but here beside it is we're going to have, our client would like to have separate air. So we've got an air compressor and a tank that, and it's a stainless steel tank that we've installed in the cargo area. And what we wanted to do is have it so it's something fairly convenient that our client can plug in and have a hose to do different things with. So just subtle little touches like that. No one would ever know it's there, but our client, it's a very usable area where he can just plug his line in here, as opposed to having to open the door, go through the interior, or go through the back and lift up the hatch and remove a bunch of stuff just to plug in a hose. You can see the roof now fits as it should. Excuse me, you can see, if the camera can pick it up, if you follow the windshield line from this post on the passenger side and go all the way across where the glass would be and the rail, you see the overhang now is correct. Before, it was out by 2 1/4 inches and it was crooked. So with a lot of modifications to the body and to the adjustments to the cowl, we're able to get it back to the area that it's supposed to be. And then as you come down the side, we still have a little bit of work to do on this metal side panel here. This panel, we're going to modify it a little bit more and bring it forward, but we can see previously the angle and the gap of the door, the steel door, original Toyota door, and original Toyota panel in blue. Once we put it up to the aluminum, it was really out. So with a lot of work and massaging, we're able to get things to fit better. So now it looks very, very good, and we've got a little bit of work to do on this side panel to bring it forward so there's not quite as much of a gap there. And then as we come around the back of the unit, you can see, now we do have some boxes in here, but once again, excuse me, with the aftermarket aluminum panel, this is a hatch style, and then this bottom tailgate comes down. There was quite a bit of modifications that we needed to do to the steel body, which is original Toyota, to have it line up. The angles of this bodybuilder were totally different than the angle from Toyota. So we were able to modify this, and then what we'll do later, now that we have a lot of the dry fitting done, is we'll be cutting this out because there's a spacer plate in between that's going to rattle over time. So we're going to end up cutting that out, and we'll weld this flush once we remove the glass, and this all will be reworked and it will be nice and smooth. The same thing on the driver's side rear. You can see here where it's got a heavier bracket, and we've got quite a bit of corrosion. There's some rust that's popping through the bracket in the rear. This is part of a mount, and I don't think the camera can pick it up, but this is dented in quite a bit. There's quite a bit of body damage in this area between where my hands are, and that's a main pivot point for the auxiliary spare tire carrier. And because it's so big and bulky, when they swing them out, it puts a lot of stress on this post area. And then when the spare tire swings all the way around, if it comes out too far, then it makes this flex. So once again, we'll be cutting this damaged section out, and we will weld in new steel, new metal in there, so it'll be correct. You can see the gaps in the alignments now are way better than what they were before. So when it left this aftermarket factory, this panel didn't even fit their body. So we had a tremendous amount of work to do to get this to fit. You can see our custom exhaust pipe. With this being the turbo diesel engine, we made our own exhaust system here, and we've bought this tailpipe and muffler from an aftermarket supplier. We'll move that magnet. So this is a really nice stainless tailpipe, and once again, this is part of our dry fitting procedure. We want to make sure that the exhaust ends up where we'd like it to be. Now our client doesn't care for this original rear bumper, so we're going to be modifying a bumper that he's ordered by the same company who ordered the front bumper, and then we'll modify that so it's the same make and style, and then we'll modify the mounting points and system on it so it will work on this Land Cruiser. So that's something we'll be working on soon. We're just waiting for the other bumper to arrive. As we come down the back of the driver's side, you'll see once again we have all of the fender flares are drilled and bolted on where they should be. This side panel is fitting much better also, and it's very similar to the passenger side I shared with you. We still do need to bring it forward a little bit, but now we have the proper alignments once again between the windshield and the steel door and the whole roof line. So the roof is now bolted down exactly at all of the factory bolt down points. Same as this side, it's bolted down to the body. So we know that our fit is coming along very nicely. So I just wanted to share that with you. So this is a 1981 Toyota Land Cruiser that we're doing a custom build on. I thank you for watching, and I'm John from lastchanceautorestore.com.